Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Glimesh team meeting. I am Clone, your host for the night. I don't know, I forgot how to do this. We skipped a week last week, and all of a sudden we have to remember how to stream and talk, and it's very complicated. I also haven't talked to another human being since Christoph in about 10 days, so that's good. All right, so welcome to the team meeting. If you're new here, this is our weekly team meeting. Everyone is welcome to join. Everyone's welcome to be a part of it. But really what we're doing here is we're talking about Glimesh, the company, how we're doing. We're talking about metrics. We're talking about wins. We're talking about financials, kind of everything under the sun that relates to the business. As we move along through these slides, if you have any questions about the content on the slide, feel free to ask. If you have questions that are not related to what we're talking about, please just hold off on those, and we will answer them at the end of the stream. As a reminder, if you are talking either in chat or on Discord voice, your voice and or text will be recorded and sent over the internet and uploaded to YouTube. If you don't consent to that, please don't do that. All right, let's get started. So first off, what we do every week is we talk about some metrics. So this is cut off. There we go. Oh. There we go. All right, so the first things we like to talk about really are social media. So this is covering 2 weeks. So we skipped last week's team meeting, so this has 2 weeks of data in it. So on Discord, we're down 121 users. On Twitter, we are up by 8. Reddit is down by 1. Instagram is down by 6. Facebook is up by 3. TikTok is up by 6, and Gilded is up by 3. The Twitter influx of 8 definitely has to do with a lot of the GCX stuff we did, but I think more importantly, recently was the Streamloots basically retweeting us, or actually tweeting about us, and mentioning us directly in their tweet, which definitely got some new followers coming on board. On the unique streamers perspective, I put both numbers of both weeks of numbers in there with a slash. So 304 was last week's, and 273 was the week before that, and then 2892 was last week's, and 2105 was the week before that. And you can see I basically just took the most recent number to do the difference. So we're up by 13 new unique streamers per week, but we're currently down about 403 peak viewers. Now, I want to kind of reassure everyone here. Peak viewers is a number that we essentially sum up all of the peak users for all of the streams for that week. And I say that because the number won't always be 100% accurate, but it is something that we can use week over week to kind of see how our traffic is doing. If you look in a minute when we talk about analytics, you'll see that this little drop here we had was basically the same. It shows up the same in the analytics. I don't think that these viewers, quote unquote, are gone from the platform. I just think that they did not view in the past week or the week before that. So I just want to be clear about that. And on the user's perspective, we're at 41,227. MRR is down by $520. That's kind of been that way since we launched. It's continuing to go down week over week. However, our expenses are going down as well because less people are using the platform. And then the last thing here is we had 22 support tickets, and we actually just completed our 1,000th ticket. Psychotic asked in chat, wait, GCX didn't boost the viewer numbers. I think we can talk about that here in a second. It did not. I think we did get some new faces on the platform, which is a net positive no matter what, but there were definitely a lot of hurdles with GCX that made it not as a compelling event as it could have been. All right, and then you can see these little charts over here. This is our live streams. This is basically these two numbers shown week over week. You can visit this at any time on our open data page. And then this is our platform user growth. You can also see this on our open data page. All right, and then I adjusted the traffic page a little bit. A, because we skipped a week, but B, because it is really more helpful to look at this on a month by month basis. Thank you. So let's start over here on the top left. Analytics. So this was basically last week, which was 2 weeks ago. You can see we had about 8,000 unique visitors, and then the week leading up to GCX, we had about 8.1 thousand, and the week of GCX, we had about 7.8 thousand. It is interesting to note that we had less unique visitors this week than this week, but if you look at this slide, we had significantly less viewers on the week of the 14th to 21st, which was a day that we had more visitors. So I want to call that out because it's kind of strange, and it's something that I think we should look into, but it is what it is for now. Like, it doesn't make sense. These numbers should be flipped to me, I would think, because if we had less viewers, less streamers 2 weeks ago, then this week, which is 2 weeks ago, should have been the smaller week. All right, and then down here, let's look at Twitter. So this is the 28-day report. You can see that tweets are down right here, and tweet impressions are down as well. Profile visits, however, are up. Mentions are down, and followers are down as well. Well, they're technically up, but they're on the net down. And then for monthly analytics, this is a new thing that we're covering. It gets kind of fuzzy to view a week at a time. I really prefer looking at a month at a time. You can see here that we're not trending in any particular direction. There has been less less unique visitors in the last part of the month, but on the overall, we're still hitting the same kind of peaks we would be. And then for the entire month of June so far, minus 2 days, which is today and tomorrow, we've had about 29,000 unique visitors and 209,000 total page views. And then you can see our top sources of traffic and then our top pages. And it's interesting to note that streams/following, which is the following page, is one of the most viewed pages. I wonder if that red icon has something to do with it. All right. Moving on here. So we have financials. Now, nothing has changed here since the rest of June because we're only updating financials every month now. So nothing really here has changed. You can see on this previous page here that MRR is down by $520. And then we're going to update June metrics at the next team meeting, which is next Tuesday. And then we'll have that third column, or the fourth column. All right, now let's talk about Glimesh Alpha Phase 2. So, as a reminder to everyone, we are currently, we completed Phase 1 of the Alpha launch. Now we're working on Phase 2. There's definitely a lot of work to do there. The most considerable one of all is the Glimesh mobile app. That's taking up a lot of my time right now. I'm working on making the app kind of alpha testable for our community. Whenever that's ready, we will definitely announce it, and we'll need your help testing it and making sure it's good enough for the world. So of course, if you're interested in helping, just stick around on our Twitter, stick around on our Discord, wherever it makes sense for you, and we'll make sure to announce it to you when it's ready. It's not ready yet, but hopefully in the future it will be ready. And then the next thing we're working on is video improvements for poor networks. This is definitely a common concern and issue. We want to make sure that you can stream to the platform successfully, that you don't have disconnects or issues, that you can view it on your mobile device, you can view it in low bandwidth conditions. We want to make sure viewing is just accessible for all. And then the third is custom channel emotes, being able to use emotes in your chat, being able to upload your own custom channel thrill is something that we definitely want to have. All right, and then this is a new slide that we include that actually breaks down those 3 roadmap items with kind of what's left to do on them. Now, we do like to release things as they're available. So for example, custom channel emotes, we did finish not finish, but we've got the initial version of the static emotes and the GIF emotes out. We do have some immediate changes there to make to support PNGs as well, and then to be able to actually use them on other platforms, but that's kind of in the back burner right now. The main focus is on the mobile app and some of the video improvements. So right now, what I just finished working on is the ability to view your followed streams. That way, once you're in the app, you just click a button and you're already watching the streams that you're following. It's actually 2 clicks, which is nice. You click following, and then you click the streamer, and then you're there. And then what I hope to work on next is being able to actually follow and unfollow users, and then hopefully we can keep moving that train along. On the video improvement side, we do actually have a new bug fix that I'll talk about here in a second that should help some of these issues. But for the most part on video improvements, we are focused on new features, things like introducing packet loss smoothing, making some kind of reliable video playback format for mobile. So that's definitely in progress. All right, and then let's talk about some wins. So the bug fix I just mentioned is actually going to be deployed out tomorrow morning. So if your stream interrupts, that's why. And what it's going to do is essentially going to fix some of our bitrate throttling. What we have basically is a bitrate cap. So whenever you're streaming at 6,000 kilobytes per second, which is our cap, the system is supposed to allow you to have some level of variability, because what OBS actually does is sometimes, one particular part of your video will be, let's say 8,000 kilobytes per second, and then the rest of your video will be right in line with 6,000 kilobytes per second. And our throttling mechanism, our cap mechanism, is supposed to basically say, okay, you can stream 8,000 kilobytes per second, but not a second more. You can only do it for a short amount of time. But after talking with users and really just continuing to try and fix bugs, we learned that the current window we used was definitely way too low, and so users were getting disconnected basically the second they peaked past that bitrate. That's why a lot of people use 4,000 or 4,500 or 5,000, because it makes your peak lower. But after we deploy this bug fix, I encourage you to try out whatever bitrate you want to stream at. Remember, we don't have transcoding, so your viewers will have to be able to consume it. But use whatever bitrate you want to use, and hopefully our service won't kick you out as long as you don't set your cap to above 6,000. So after we roll this out, we'll make an announcement tomorrow. We'll tell you what it should look like, and then give us a ping in the bugs channel if you do get disconnected. If you stream at 6,001, it's going to kick you off. Probably not, actually, but it's something that we're going to have to keep tweaking. Really what we're trying to do here is prevent abuse. For anyone who looks at our financials, the most important thing that we have to preserve is the price of bandwidth. And so as much as we want to give you unlimited bitrate and have you do whatever you want to do, that unfortunately won't pay the bills. And we also want to make sure that everyone has a fair chance at this. So we don't have like transcoding or anything at the moment, and we want to make sure that we're financially ready for transcoding when we do have it. So we do have a bitrate limit because we have to prevent abuse of the platform, whether it's intentional or unintentional. Now, what we really want that rate limit to apply to, or that bitrate limit to apply to, is people who are actually abusing the platform. If you're just if you're just streaming and you happen to go over for a second, we don't want to punish you for that. And that's what this bug fix will do. All right, moving on. So the next one here is the GCX event is completed. The virtual booth and restream went really swell. And we had a lot of users come up to our booth and engaged with us. I think it wasn't as much traffic, as much people as we had anticipated, but the GCX team made it right. they tried their hardest, and I think we definitely enjoyed the experience. I think there's not a lot of virtual conventions like that out there. In fact, to my recollection, this is one of the first, and so I really think that they're doing something really cool by trying to kind of trailblaze that. Now, it didn't work out as perfectly as they had hoped, but neither did our launch, so we're not going to give them a hard time for that. They still raised, I think, $5 million for charity for St. Jude. Paco, do you remember?
Last I saw, it was somewhere around 3.8 million, but I did never see the final total.
Okay, I think they had 4 then, because I remember they had some big final number. And so, even though there were issues, even though GCX didn't go as well as they'd hoped, they still raised money for a great cause. They still had some great panels with some great audiences and podcasts. And so I thought that was really fun. I know a lot of people did have fun exploring the virtual environment, and I thought overall it was a great time. And the one last thing I wanted to mention there is Glimesh actually tried to help out as much as we could. We're not a large company yet. We're not able to give away a large percentage of our income to charity, but Glimesh, the organization, did donate $1,000 to St. Jude as well during Art of COD's charity stream, which pushed his personal charity over the limit, but then also contributed to that GCX total charity fund. So I'm happy that we can do stuff like that. I think in the future, when we have a little bit more runway and a little bit more revenue coming in, we'd love to dedicate a percentage of our revenue to supporting charity streams that our community hosts, and so we'll continue to try and find ways of doing that even when we're small. All right, and then the next thing here is super awesome as well. Streamloots, which is a tool for essentially adding redeemable cards to your stream, where viewers can, engage with certain sound. What are they called? Sound notifications, or they can make certain settings change in your game, or they can activate some kind of chat command. It's all sorts of stuff. You can basically redeem cards to do that. And now Streamloots supports logging in via Glimesh, so you don't have to log in with your Twitch account anymore. We're right there at the bottom with, shall I say, billion-dollar company, billion-dollar company, billion-dollar company, the same billion-dollar company, us. So that's awesome to see. Being right there on Streamloots is going to give us traffic. It's going to give us people who see us, but also Streamloots is doing something great. And we want to help support them as much as possible. So we hope to continue doing some more deeper integrations with the Streamloots platform. If you've never heard of it, I would definitely recommend checking it out. It's a pretty cool way of giving your viewers additional engagement opportunities. But also, we talked to them for a good long while. We talked to, I think, at least 3 of them or 4 of them over there, and they're very in line with what Glimesh wants to be. They were extremely nice. They were extremely proud of what they've built, and they're extremely dedicated to building something that is actually meaningful for their users. It actually felt in talking with them that they actually had your best interests at heart, which I think is hard to expect when you have certain other companies that exist out there. So I love Streamloots. I'm glad we could integrate with them. I hope we can continue to do more. So that was definitely a win for last week. And that was definitely due to the work of our biz dev team. Definitely Paco, Barry, and Hewa all worked on that one. And it's awesome. All right, moving on. We also rolled out a new API. Now, it's weird to say that we already have a new API when our existing API is only 3 months old, but the new API adds pagination to all of our plural elements. And so if you're using our existing API, you're still fine. Don't worry, we're not planning on sunsetting that yet. But the new API was not compatible with the old one, so we've released a new one that kind of has a more forward-thinking approach to it. It adds in some new elements that you can pull from, and then it's going to be the new API that we develop all of our mobile app against. So anything the mobile app can do, you'll be able to request your own application to do. So things like following, chatting, viewing streams, looking at home pages, all that kind of stuff, you'll be able to access with that new API. If you're interested in using it or trying it out, it's still early preview. You can message us in the dev channel and we'll get you set up. All right. Anyone have any questions on any of these wins? Anything to add there that I missed? Any wins that I forgot to add?
I would like to add one thing as far as the GCX stuff goes. Brit Zarugi also was a massive help. She helped Barry and I get a lot of the promotional materials and things like that together as well. And she spent some time in the space station running a booth as well. She was a lot of help.
Awesome. Yeah. I definitely know I heard a lot from Bitrate around the GCX event.
Mm-hmm.
Jay Fair, check out our How to Contribute channel. I just say Brit Zarugi more, because I don't say your name out loud very frequently, and my tongue gets confused. Brit Zarugi. No,
Yeah,
I'm
good.
doing the full thing. Brit Zarugi.
Imagine you're in an old samurai movie. You'll be fine.
I overpronounced the Suru. All right, I'm going to move on. So the next thing we have here is we're actually going to be changing up the weekly team meeting. Now, this has been something that we've been talking about for a very long time, almost since we started having them in the first place, which I think is a good point. But essentially right now, the team meetings are a great way to get everyone together in the same place, talk about Glimesh, but realistically, the meetings aren't currently providing the most amount of value that they could be providing. I think one of the things we want to make sure we're doing with the team meetings is using them to take an kind of introspective look at the business and figure out exactly how we should be, navigating the business. When we're looking at a weekly context, a lot of the metrics don't actually make sense. We change so much week to week just on people deleting their Twitter account that looking at Twitter numbers week over week is not really helping us. When we put out social media campaigns, it could take a couple of weeks for things to trickle in. The same thing with GCX, the same thing with the Streamloots. And by putting that in the framework of a weekly meeting, it really kind of doesn't paint a picture that's actually accurate to what we're trying to do here. You can see that more and more with some of the metrics and the financials. We've been already navigating it towards a month-based format, and this is the kind of stuff, like this is the profit and loss statement, and this is what we should be reporting out anyway as a business. And by doing it monthly, it means I only have to do that work one time. I just have to get it ready, get it prepared, and then make sure it looks good, and then we can make decisions based on this data. Looking at financials on a week cadence isn't really helping us because the first week of the month has the largest number of subscriptions. The second month of the second week of the month has the lowest number of subscriptions, and that's just how it's going to be until we change that dynamic. Like that's just how people subscribed when we launched. And so reporting the first week that financials are great, and then the second week that financials are down, it's kind of confusing, right? It doesn't really make sense. It's not the full picture. So we want to adjust the team meeting to actually be a board meeting instead, which we want to host anyway because we're actually a corporation. So we actually need to at least hold an annual board meeting and then regular board meetings whenever we feel like it. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to change this format to be a monthly board meeting. And the way it'll work is that we're going to essentially have an executive report at the very beginning, which is me talking about the business, the direction, where we're at now, where we're hoping to go. We're going to talk about that every single month. Then we're going to talk about metrics for the past full month in relation to the months before it, right? We have to compare ourselves for the previous month to see how we were doing. And then the finances would be the same way. We're going to compare our finances month over month. and then we're going to do team reports, which will be either members of our team, representatives of the teams that we have, talking and presenting improvements or differences or changes they've made, or if we don't have anyone who can represent that team, we'll take a written report and read it out for them. But that'll be a way of all the teams kind of getting a word in to the community at large. And then we'll talk about previous business and new business, which are kind of organizational type changes. So previous business would be agenda items, new business would be new agenda items that we want to talk about. These may be empty for us. We don't have any board members right now, so there's not really anything for the specific company agenda, but we want to host our board meetings in public. So that's what we're going to do. It's going to be more of a formal event with a real focus on the standard reporting and accurate minute keeping. This is something that we're going to publish as an organization beyond just our blog. That way, when we look back at the organization, we see every month that we've done the right things that we can do as a business, we've kept our books in order, and that we can actually remain accountable to you, the users. I also hope to start this process now because as we continue to grow and onboard more roles, more board members, we want to keep this meeting public. That's the entire point of running an open company, is continuing to do this even when it doesn't scale. And by setting this standard now, I hope that we can continue it very easily into the future. How do we become board members? Second person to ask. So I hope you'll join me next Tuesday, where we host the first ever monthly board meeting, and then we will see how it goes. All right, there were a couple of questions up here. Let me get to them real quick. So Psychotic asked first, are you saying that our transparency is hurting us, or because people don't know how to interpret them? No, I think that I want us to, like, in an ideal situation, all of our metrics are public by default, which means that you can go to, finances.glimesh.tv and see our finances at that minute, like the snapshot of what just happened. You can go to our plausible page and see our analytics right then and there. Like, I want all of the metrics to be live, but when we report out on it, when we do this level of comparison, I want this level of comparison to be month over month with the entire aggregate of that month. And what that means is that we'll be able to actually see how Glimesh is changing as a business instead of just these dips and peaks. So everyone's asking how to be a board member. Like, I have no idea right now how to onboard other board members. I need to. So board members are not. How do I put this? It's a very dangerous game. Board members are usually voted in. We actually have bylaws that are already written that would dictate exactly how that process happens. But we have to think about Glimesh, right? And when we think about Glimesh, we have to make sure that the people that we want to be on the board are not going to, there are people that are going to sell us away to another company, or not going to be people that introduce advertisements just because it will make more revenue. Like, one of the things that I'm struggling with personally is how to formulate Glimesh the company, Glimesh Inc., in a way that lets us not shoot ourselves in the foot immediately. And so until we figure out kind of the corporate governance, what the corporate image of Glimesh Inc. looks like, I don't want to onboard any additional board members. So that's where I'm at with that. It's something that we need to talk about, but it's also something that we should probably wait to talk about until we actually are growing month over month, because I'm on the board. I'm the only board member. It sounds crazy, but it's literally just like, it's just a piece of paper that you file with the state of Delaware. Like, that's about it. You don't get to question the current chairman. There's no shareholders. You have no way of voting me out. All right, now I'm joking. I mean, I'm totally saying that in jest. I founded Glimesh because I want to make it a really good place to be, and I'm committed to making sure that happens. My fear with onboarding shareholders or board members or anything of that nature is I want to make sure that we actually codify our future, our ethics, into our bylaws. That way, in order for them to be changed, it's more complicated than just a board vote. I was a director of a nonprofit, a 501(c) nonprofit, and they essentially had a board, and then they had the membership, and the membership essentially had ownership of the organization, if you will. The board was responsible for day-to-day. They were responsible for overall business level decisions, but in order to change the bylaws, which are what the organization was founded on, you actually had to have a vote of the membership. So ideally, in the future, what we look at for Glimesh is something like that, where the board can make decisions day to day. They can say, hey, we need to invest $100,000 in servers, whatever it is. Hey, we need to hire these 20 people, whatever it is. But if they want to change the they want to sell the organization out from under you, that would actually require your membership to approve or something like that. So that's what I want to figure out before we open it up to more people. And blockchain. Yeah, right. And Simi, that's the point, right? Is that we could spend months on that, just coming up with the bylaws of the organization, and then fail because we spent so much time ignoring the business and we focused on the organizational structure. So I think we need to make sure that Glimesh is at least growing before we have those levels of conversations. Does anyone have any questions related to that? I hope that the board meetings can be literally just what you've already come to know and love with these team meetings, except for more impactful to us and the other people who get value out of that. I know that some of you actually like coming here every week just to talk with us. I don't want that to change. One of the things that Paco was talking about earlier is potentially adding other GCT streams or feature streams or weekly streams or whatever it is, and hosting those in lieu of the weekly team meetings, maybe focus directly on features or on fun things that happen in the week, something that can still get the community engaged every week, just not something where I talk about declining financials for 15 minutes and become sad, and then everyone else just moves on to the features. Yeah, I think we have a lot more opportunities like that to host some innovative GCT streams or all sorts of stuff. And I want those to exist. I think that's really important. All right, what we'll do now is we will go ahead and end it. I want to thank everyone for stopping by, for watching this recording on YouTube. We're going to stick around in the stream for a couple of minutes more to answer any questions that you have. We're definitely an open book. You can ask literally anything you want. You can ask the most pointed thing that you ever expect, and we'll try our best to answer it. Yeah, so thank you.